She killed her uncle over a stolen cell phone, but tonight you'll hear why there was so much more behind the stabbing death. And is Campo Chester going through changes? The top cop has gone from calling gangsters animals to once again playing peacemaker. We'll ask him about the sudden shift. Also, an unbelievable impact in a motorcycle collision with a taxi. We'll show you how the two riders actually survived while the cab driver ran off. Plus, police had to go into remote San Vicente, Toledo, to keep the peace after villagers tried to eject the BDF. And a 4-year-old child will get to see her fifth after she was saved from a burning house. We've got details of these and other stories in our newscast for tonight, Monday, November 30th, 2020. Good evening. With your news, I'm Indra Craig.
For hydration, when the choice is yours, choose the brand you have always trusted. Crystal Water. Taste you can trust.
I am very happy and pleased to say that it's a great day for the San Francisco family, where Belize Electricity Limited opened their hearts to us because they handed over a duplicator, a risograph to our school. This risograph means a lot to us, especially in these times where we need to prepare packages. Our old machine was already giving trouble, and so this new machine that we got can print 150 pages in a minute. So we will not be having a teacher standing for hours waiting for papers to be printed. Today, with a couple of 2 hours, I would say, a teacher would be able to have those papers ready for the entire school population. So on behalf of students, teachers, and administration, I want to thank Belize Electricity Limited for this wonderful donation to our school.
Ray, what's wrong? It's him. He hit me again.
Oh my gosh.
This time it was worse. He slammed my face in the wall and threatened to kill me. If you or someone you know is experiencing family violence, call 0800 for Way Out. Or you can text or WhatsApp to 672-9628. This message is brought to you by the National Women's Commission, with funding from Be Engender and Spotlight Projects.
Delicate, the beer of Belize.
Everyone is at risk of catching COVID-19, so it's important to quickly recognize signs and symptoms of the infection. The most common symptoms are fever, dry cough, and tiredness or fatigue. Some people may also have sore throat, aches and pains, stuffy nose, or diarrhea. But a few people have also reported pink eye or conjunctivitis, headache, loss of taste or smell, a rash on skin, or change in the color of fingers or toes. Emergency warning signs that require immediate medical attention are extreme difficulty breathing, severe constant pain or pressure in the chest, becoming confused, unable to talk or move, bluish lips, face, fingers, or toes, For more information, call 0800 MOHCARE. Help keep Belize safe.
Stay safe and submit your sickness benefit claim form electronically. Follow these 4 steps. Step 1. Obtain your medical certificate. At consultation, the doctor certifies your days of illness and provides you with a medical certificate. Step 2. Fill out your sickness benefit form. Complete all the fields in parts 1 to 4 on the front page of the sickness benefit form. Step 3. Request your salaries record form. Contact your employer for your salaries record form. Step 4. Submit your sickness benefit claim form. Scan or take a clear picture of the sickness benefit form, salaries record, and proof of bank account. Email the documents to claims@socialsecurity.org.bz within 14 days. You will receive an email reply confirming receipt of your claim. After the submission of all documents, your claim is processed for payment to your account. For any COVID-related illnesses, contact the Ministry of Health for further guidance. Social Security Board, safeguarding you, your family, your future.
Entertainment and gaming increases, so does the demand for bandwidth and faster speeds. If you're a gamer, you know exactly what I'm talking about. I'm talking about extremely reliable, low latency, high-speed internet connection that is crucial for smooth gaming. A next-generation connection. That's why I chose next-gen high-speed internet for my streaming needs. They are by far the best internet service provider in Belize. NextGen has noticed the vast growth of gaming audience, and as an innovative company, they are the first broadband internet service providers powered by gamers. Now, they're taking the lead in providing a package that's just right for us gamers. So what are you waiting for? Sign up today.
A 21-year-old may be facing jail time after she stabbed her uncle while they were arguing on Saturday night around 9:30. But while this story may seem like an open and shut case, it gets complicated as a niece reportedly endured years of torment from her uncle, and it all came to a head when she claims he stole and sold her cell phone. Now the family is left fighting to keep her out of jail on a murder charge while mourning the loss of their loved one. Courtney Menzies visited them and got the whole story.
A family feud over the weekend resulted in the death of 41-year-old Renicle Hemmans. Hemmans reportedly died at the hands of his 21-year-old niece, Courtney Trapp, who lived in the same house.
Mr. Hemmans had a misunderstanding with his niece, and the argument started at the road, where there was an exchange of words and battles were thrown at each other. And inside of the yard, a struggle ensued where it is alleged that the niece got hold of a knife and inflicted a stab wound to Mr. Renicle Hemmans.
Was a dispute indeed over a cell phone which could not have been found?
Yes, we understand that there were a cell phone issue that the niece was alleging that he had taken from her about 2 or 3 days before the incident.
Was she alleging that he sold her phone? That's what I heard.
Yes, we understand that the cell phone was sold to somebody, and that person had returned the phone, but the phone was not in working condition.
A life lost over a cell phone, but the story may not be that simple. There was also a history of torment. Courtney Trapp's mother says she has had many fights with her brother while she was living at the same house. And now, she regrets leaving her daughter to face what she had to endure for 20 years. But she will keep fighting for the innocence of her daughter, who she says acted in self-defense.
My daughter, she was a cool, ongoing person. She was a graduate, actually, if I was to college. You could go check the NF, she not go hang that no black to black to black. Nobody don't know she know. She not got a police record, miss. My legal as calm as a calf. 20 years of enduring this crap for my brother, that's no joke. People they out there they talk out and I want to say it. right? But they don't know the story. While they're out there, they rant and they say and attack and they say this about phone. Mrs. far bigger than our phone. I picture myself in my legal shoes right now because if I was here, I think that would have be me. For the amount of fight we fight here, they're not joke. That was self-defense, miss. Everybody were there, I never there. But the people that were there said that self-defense. When my legal did a police station last time, my legal had to go to the hospital. Why? Because he had for his hand, mess up my legal throat. So how could that not be self-defense?
There is still hope that Trapp may not even see the inside of a jail cell. Police have not classified this case as murder and will await directions from the DPP.
The investigation is still ongoing. Several statements have been recorded, persons have been interviewed. The suspect has been interviewed, and based on what we have so far, we have put up a file, and those documents were sent to the office of the DPP for them to advise us as to what is the correct charge to be levied, if any.
And while the DPP will decide, his brother is now mourning the loss of two of his relatives.
I like to remember he has family. The both of them, family. Now that like one empty hole, where I like take one while to make we patch. You know, because that two of them, he dead, she going to jail. He had somebody, he stay up for him grind. He look out for his daughter.
How old is the daughter? Does she live here?
Well, she don't live here. I really know how old her, but she gonna be her age, like I say, in the next couple of days. Gonna be almost the 2nd of December.
Courtney Menzies, 7 News.
COA confirmed that Trapp had made a police complaint about the stolen cell phone. Trapp's mother is now concerned at the way the police are handling the investigation and fears the worst for her daughter. The weekend's other murder happened on Friday night in the Martins area, which has been rife with gang warfare. The victim was 37-year-old Erwin Castillo, a cab driver who had a long history of run-ins with the police. He was fatally shot just before 11, and police arrived on the scene to find his cab halfway into the drain and his lifeless body in the driver's seat. This evening, police charged 19-year-old Shervin Tench for this crime. Prior to the arrest, Superintendent Alejandro Coa told us that the shooting was preceded by an argument.
What we understand is that Mr. Castillo was driving off from Flamboyant Street towards Western Avenue when two persons stopped the vehicle and he began chatting with him. Thereafter, he was approached by someone who fired several shots at him, causing his fatal injuries.
Do you all believe that the shots were fired based on the prior conversation that he'd had?
Yes, we do believe.
No, we know that he has been involved with criminal elements before. He has been criminally charged before. Do you believe his death was related to some previous incident, or was it related to the general gang rivalries in that neighborhood?
Well, as far as we know, Mr. Castillo has a long history with the police. And I also know that he associates with certain groups in that area. And we believe that that might have been the motive because of him being in an area where he is not expected to be.
Castillo's family declined comment. He had been charged for involvement in several robberies and burglaries, including at First Caribbean Bank, that is, in 2015, at Brint's Security in 2018, and at the Belize Waste Control in 2019. Now, that murder happened on Friday night and became the third murder in the Martins area in 4 nights. Devin Amoa on last Monday night, Lynn Roy Longsworth on Wednesday, and then on Friday, Erwin Castillo. Police were supposed to have blanketed the area with operations and mediations by midweek, but still the killing continued on Friday night. It's a hot zone and a real headache for a short-staffed police department. Its ranks depleted by COVID-19. Today, the commissioner said it's been a tense time.
It has been extremely tense. Over the weekend, myself, Brother Nuri, and Miss Westby, we spent our time in the St. Martins area working with the different fractions with a view to quell the ongoing situation there. We have some peace over the weekend, I must say, and we are going to continue doing what we are doing with a view to see how we can continue to keep the peace in that area. We know that there are extremely strong tensions between the different groups, and it will require a lot of work for us to be able to bring things back to normalcy. But we're not going to give up. We're going to continue to do what we can, because at the end of the day, whenever these young men are killed, there is always a number of persons who are left behind grieving that do love them. And so I personally, I'm sure I can speak on behalf of Brother Nuri and Ms. Westby. We're tired of seeing mothers crying on TV. We're tired of seeing siblings crying. We're tired of seeing girlfriends or wives crying on TV for having lost their loved ones. So whatever it is that we can do to save these youths from themselves, we're going to do.
Is this another change of tack for you in terms of, famously, you were doing such awesome work at Eastern Division as a mediator, and then you became compelled, and then you took a harder line, you called them animals. You said, if you act like animals, you know, we'll have to treat you like that. But now I'm seeing that the mediator is coming back. Blessed are the peacemakers, sir.
Jules, do you have a dog?
I do, sir.
A dog is an animal, right?
Yes, sir.
Does a dog always act out? And don't we have animals that behave very, very good? So to say that someone act like animal does not mean you're acting bad. Sometimes animals act better than some of us. Yeah? So sometimes to say act like animal could be a compliment. It's how you want to take it.
You didn't say it was a compliment.
Well, I didn't say it was not either. Police can be a part of a process to bring people together. We must be a part of that process. When it is that we are to pull the whip and be stern, we must be stern, because there are some people that no level of talking is going to change them. So I still have that firm belief of tough policing, and I have that firm belief of soft policing. We have to find a way to strike a balance and when to apply either of them.
Police mediation efforts continue. Tonight, 18-year-old Cayo resident George Velasquez is hospitalized after being involved in a high-impact motorcycle collision. Last night, the motorcycle he was driving collided head-on into a turning car, and both he and his passenger, 18-year-old Jason Linares, were flung off the bike. Tonight, they are alive by the grace of God and their helmets. Here's that enormous impact and what police had to say about it.
Last night, sometime shortly after 8:30 p.m., San Ignacio police were called to the scene of a road traffic accident in Santa Elena town, and later they visited the San Ignacio Community Hospital, where they saw George Velasquez, 18 years, and Jason Linares, also 18 years, whom was reported to police were on a motorcycle being driven by Velasquez, and they were heading from a north to south direction when a car coming from the opposite direction crossed into their lane in an effort to turn off into another street, causing the collision. The driver then fled the scene, leaving both persons on the scene. Velasquez is in a stable condition based on the injuries he received, whilst Linares was treated and released.
Might be added that the driver was in the wrong because he was making a left turn into a lane of oncoming traffic and did not yield. Police haven't located the driver of the taxi so far. And in other non-fatal accident news coming out of Cayo, John August, the UDP's losing candidate in Cayo Northeast, knocked down a 92-year-old man from Unitedville Village this morning. It happened at around 11:15 when the victim, Daniel Gongora, was attempting to cross the highway in front of Yilong Shop in Unitedville. August was approaching in his Isuzu D-Max when he saw the elderly man in his road. He says he applied brakes and tried swerving to avoid a collision, but still ended up hitting him with the right front side of the vehicle, knocking Gongora unconscious and injuring his hand. The 92-year-old was transported to the Belmopan Hospital in an unconscious state. We'll take a break now. When we come back, Minister Andre Perez steps out. He says, put the brakes on the Waterloo port. You'll hear his comments. And the 4-year-old girl will get to see her fifth after she was saved from a burning house. Don't go away.
Hey Belize, Benny's Deal Alert season is here, and we have some great deals for you.
Deals, deals, and more deals. From now up until December 31st, enjoy Deal Alert discounts on our line of paints, such as BH paints, Texturelight paints, and Tropical Colors paints. Deal Alert markdowns will also be applied on a wide selection of tiles, lights and fans, tools, appliances, and much more.
And remember, whenever you make a purchase, you get double tickets to enter our cash giveaway draw on December 19th to win $10,000.
That's right, it's a Deal Alert. It's a Benny's Deal Alert. So shop now, get great deals and your tickets for the chance to win the $10,000 grand prize only at Benny's.
Benny's in 60 seconds.
Hi everybody. Last week I told you about the state of our nation's economy and government's finances. Recall I told you that what we found after 11th November was that government was borrowing about $1 million a day just to keep government functioning. I also told you we could not find a coherent plan to deal with the coronavirus pandemic. Since then, we have rolled out a plan to address the pandemic, and it includes all of us working together so that we can slow down the spread of the virus. Already too many Belizeans have died, and too many are being infected every day. We have to turn this around. This is why we have instituted a nighttime curfew, increased testing, and putting in stricter measures to keep us from infecting one another. Now I know these measures are not easy, especially at Christmas time, but we all need to do our part if we are to win this battle with this pandemic. Like the rest of the world, we too are hoping that a vaccine will be ready soon. But in the meantime, what we have are these manageable rules. 1, wear your face mask properly whenever you have to leave your home. 2, wash your hands regularly. This we call good hygiene. And 3, stay 6 feet apart. This we call physical distancing. If we do these things, we will stop the virus from spreading to our family and friends. One last thing. I have been in isolation for days now. It is not easy to be separated from my family. This is just one of the consequences of catching the virus, but I am lucky. See, I am asymptomatic, but I have friends and colleagues who are not. I know of people who have suffered greatly, and I know people who have died. We have to take this seriously, but we can also learn lessons. Those who exercise regularly and try to eat healthy fare better than those who don't. Let us try to live healthier lifestyles, and let us always care for each other. I continue to work from my bedroom, where my isolation will continue until the doctors say I am free to return to work. But even then, I will do so mindful of the new regulations, which includes working from home whenever possible and keeping up with the 3 important practices of wearing a face mask in public, frequent hand washing, and 6 feet physical distancing. Together we can win this war against COVID-19. I know we can and we will. Thanks, God bless, and have a safe week.
For hydration, when the choice is yours, choose the brand you have always trusted. Crystal Water. Taste you can trust.
I am very happy and pleased to say that it's a great day for the San Francisco family, where Belize Electricity Limited opened their hearts to us because they handed over a duplicator, a risograph to our school. This risograph means a lot to us, especially in these times where we need to prepare packages. Our old machine was already giving trouble, and so this new machine that we got can print 150 pages in a minute. So we will not be having a teacher standing for hours waiting for papers to be printed. Today, with a couple of 2 hours, I would say, a teacher would be able to have those papers ready for the entire school population. So on behalf of students, teachers, and administration, I want to thank Belize Electricity Limited for this wonderful donation to our school.
Ray, what's wrong? It's him. He hit me again. Oh my gosh. This time it was worse. He slammed my face in the wall and threatened to kill me. If you or someone you know is experiencing family violence, call 0800 for Way Out. Or you can text or WhatsApp to 672-9628. This message is brought to you by the National Women's Commission, with funding from Be Engender and Spotlight Projects.
Delicate, the beer of Belize.
Everyone is at risk of catching COVID-19, so it's important to quickly recognize signs and symptoms of the infection. The most common symptoms are fever, dry cough, and tiredness or fatigue. Some people may also have sore throat, aches and pains, stuffy nose, or diarrhea. But a few people have also reported pink eye or conjunctivitis, headache, loss of taste or smell, a rash on skin, or change in the color of fingers or toes. Emergency warning signs that require immediate medical attention are extreme difficulty breathing, severe constant pain or pressure in the chest, becoming confused, unable to talk or move, bluish lips, face, fingers, or toes. For more information, call 0800 MOHCARE. Help keep Belize safe.
As we showed you on Friday, the public consultation for the proposed Port of Belize expansion project to include cruise ship terminal decks saw much opposition from not only the public but several environmental NGOs. And taking all that very much into account, in the new Blue government is the new Ministry of the Blue Government and Blue Economy. Blue economy refers to the sustainable use of ocean resources for economic growth and improved livelihoods. And that's why they have been keeping a close eye on the Waterloo Investment Holdings expansion project. The CEO, Kennedy Carrillo, even called into the public consultation to ensure that the ministry is involved in every step of the process. Today, the minister, Andre Perez, via a Facebook Live video, is asking for the project to be suspended while the country recovers from recent disasters such as the flooding and, of course, the pandemic. Here's how he put it.
I will actively pursue this consultation to please take a break, take it easy. Yes, I want to listen. Yes, we want to dialogue. Listen to all parties involved. But at this point in time, the urgency of our nation, there are many other matters of national importance that require immediate attention, such as the floods that just occurred. We have damage in agriculture, livestock, floodings all over the place. Here in San Pedro and Kikaka, we're no strangers. We have badly damaged roads right here that it's costing in the millions to repair. We have to reach out to this. The economic crisis right now, unemployment is rampant, in particular here in Kikaka and San Pedro. All of these things that we must focus on, and these require immediate short-term solutions. And I will be asking respectfully to the consultations and everything that we must put it on hold. That it is, although it is a long-term project that may have some economic impact, whether positive or negative to this country, I believe that we need to put it on hold to look at it.
The project has not been approved as yet, but the major concern is the amount of dredging and ocean dumping that is required and the damage to the barrier reef it may cause. Notably, no CEO has been named for the Ministry of Sustainable Development, Climate Change and Disaster Risk Management, which would have key inputs into any decision on this project. A family of 4 is lucky to be alive after their home went up in smoke around 1 on Saturday morning. Jeremiah Budna was asleep in the downstairs of the home when he saw flames falling from the ceiling. He raced upstairs to wake his sleeping sister and nieces, aged 4 and 12, and the family managed to escape. Courtney Menzies has this story.
A 4-year-old girl might not have gotten the chance to celebrate her 5th birthday on Tuesday if her uncle did not alert her mother that their home was on fire. Jeremiah Budna had been renting the home for 8 years and always complained to the landlord about faulty wiring. The problem was never fixed, and on Saturday, it caused the house to go up in flames. Fortunately, Budna woke up in time to rescue his sister and 2 nieces who were sleeping.
I get up and I try to see if I could out of the fire. But what happened? I know it get too severe, too much smoke, too much flame. I come here, my sister live upstairs there. I can't figure out wake my sister, but like she self-conscious, I don't know. Because 2 children were so sad that I watch my sister lay down in the room there, and the poor child, one of them there, front way, how she lay down. And the other one, she there by footstep. But like, you know, it's so sad I try to wake up and but then would have never believed, not that we would have believed something like this would have happened to her. But apparently he act fast though. What was the problem that we was going through, because they could have died in there. Well, I know something we would have expect to happen just like that. But we tell them about this problem with this wiring. You know, thank God that we're still alive. It's very hurtful, and you grab me the correct time, because as I done explain to the other gentleman, he me very hurtful. For that me see the children you know, in flame.
But they didn't get any injuries?
No injury, no nothing. Just that all our possession or whatever who may get, they gone up in a flame.
Fire station supervisor Kenneth Mortis confirmed that the faulty wiring caused the fire. It started in a room at the back of the house.
Determined based on fire patterns and evidence showed that that's where the fire started from. However, we dug further and we learned that history has shown that that particular building was experiencing some electrical problem for some time now. And the occupants had indeed tried to make it known to the owner of the building. Unfortunately, their complaints weren't heeded to. It is a tragedy because when we did the aftermath, we learned that several outlets weren't functioning, several light switches weren't functioning. This in turn basically forced the family members to use a multitude of extension cords to try and suffice the building with the electricity that it desperately needed. Again, it is up to these family members to seek, I would want to say, legal advice if they want to so choose to, in terms of trying to determine where would they go from there.
Bonna told us that he is grateful the family was able to escape unharmed. He and his sister are now in the process of picking up the pieces, and they have other family members to help.
Thank God that they got family members where they assist we, got neighbors where can assist we, you know. People working good with way to make sure that, you know, we don't worry about the suffer, half of the cost of the thing them, but we got life, health and strength, whether the main thing.
Courtney Menzies, 7 News.
If anyone from the public would like to assist a family, they can be contacted at 631-4758. Much of the relief of the hurricane-weary residents of the Caribbean and Central American nations, the 2020 Atlantic Basin hurricane season, ended today, November 30th. But as viewers are aware, this season was particularly punishing with all the named storms and major hurricanes. The season set all the worst kinds of records. There were 30 named storms, and 13 of those storms became hurricanes. Of those 13, 6 became major hurricanes at Category 3 strength or higher. That's a little bit more than double the number that forecasters estimated at the start of the season. Today we spoke via teleconference with the senior climatologist at the National Met Service about the 2020 hurricane season.
This season was an extremely active season with about 30 named storms, 4 of which affected Belize indirectly or directly in the months of September and also November. Well, this season, like I said, there was 30 named storms, 13 of which were hurricanes, with 6 becoming major hurricanes, which is well above average compared to the 30-year average. Normally, on average, 12 named storms are held within a season, with 6 of them being hurricanes and 3 becoming major hurricanes. So we had a La Nina event for the latter half of the hurricane season, along with warm sea surface temperature in the tropical Atlantic and also the Caribbean Sea, along with weak vertical shear and weaker trade winds over the area. And I think the last season where we probably had something similar was in 2005, if I'm not mistaken, where we had before the previous record for the number of named storms in the season.
Of the 30 storms that formed, Belize was affected by 4. Of those, only 1 hurricane, Nana, made direct landfall on the country. Prior to Nana, Belize was impacted by the Eastern Pacific tropical storm Amanda, which crossed Central America into the Gulf of Mexico and was renamed as the Atlantic Basin tropical storm Cristobal. That system dumped heavy rainfall across the country, which resulted in flooding. And right now, Belize is still recovering from floods caused by the torrential rains of major hurricanes Eta and Iota. The government estimates that these hurricanes caused damage and losses to the tune of $150 million or more countrywide. According to the senior climatologist, the rainfall numbers from these hurricanes measured 4 times more than the 30-year average at their different automatic stations. Here's that part of our conversation.
Is this a record number of rainfall and floods, or is it just an extremely abnormally high one?
Well, definitely for the month of November, it is an very above average season. In terms of records, I will need to go back and check further, but definitely some daily records have been broken over most stations, but especially those in the central and some northern areas since the month of November. For the first event, Hurricane Eta, Belmopan, Chalk Creek, Hershey, La Milpa, Libertad, and other stations, including here at the airport, did break their records mostly around the 4th, 5th, and 6th of November, and also around the 17th to the 19th of November with Hurricane Iota.
Okay.
So most areas did experience, based on at least our automatic stations at the moment, the daily extreme for those particular stations during those days appears to have been broken. For instance, areas like the Gales Point, they have received so far about 829 millimeters, when on average for the month of November, it's normally around 191 millimeters. And also in the Baldy Beacon area, they also received about 895 millimeters of rainfall this month, where the average is normally around 231. And at the airport, similarly, a value of about 841 millimeters has been recorded so far for the month, and the long-term 30-year average is normally around 213.8.
A press release from the Met Office says, quote, the National Meteorological Service takes this time to encourage everyone to do a review of their 2020 hurricane plan to see where their weaknesses and shortfalls were so that they can be better prepared if the need arises in 2021, end quote. And there was a storm of community unrest in remote San Vicente, Toledo yesterday. San Vicente sits at the extreme southwestern edge of Belize, and there is a constant BDF presence because it is a frontier area prone to incursions. But yesterday, the villagers, alcalde included, said they wanted the BDF out. Police had to be called in to keep the peace. The commissioner told us more.
There was some issue in the village between the elements of the BDF and some villagers, which resulted in the villagers saying that they wanted the BDF out of the village. Based on that, the police were deployed to avoid any standoff between the villagers and the members of the Belize Defense Force, who I must say did not leave, and under no circumstances should the BDF have left. That would have shown sign of weakness. And so we sent police officers into the area, and based on that, a number of persons were spoken to, some were detained, and we expect that charges will be filed against some of them today.
Sir, why did they want the BDF out of the village?
Well, you know, some people just want to have their way, and because the BDF intervened in whatever was taking place, they got uptight and said they want the BDF out.
Any meeting happening today? I understand the alcalde is involved.
Well, the alcalde himself will be brought in today by the police. He has some questions to answer because he was a part of what took place.
The commander dealing with that area is now Senior Superintendent Daniel Arzu. He today took over along with many new changes of command countrywide. One that raised a few eyebrows is the new commander of Special Branch Headquarters. That's Senior Superintendent Sandra Bowden, an officer who enjoys the full confidence of the Commissioner of Police. She will become the first woman to head Special Branch, which is a specialized unit for intelligence gathering, or to put it simply, they are Belize's spies and secret keepers. And while the elevation of a woman to this senior and sensitive post is to be applauded, the only thing is, Bowden has never been a Special Branch officer, and that unit, perhaps more than any other in the department, has its own particular culture. So some have questioned whether she will be a right fit. And so we asked the Compol about it today, and he was kind of defensive.
Senior Superintendent Bowden was not performing spectacularly in the southern region. I don't think the numbers for the southern region are what you had wished them to be. Has never been an intelligence officer, but now will run Special Branch nationally.
I don't know why is it that some of us have the tendency of bringing down women. Miss Bowden is a very, very good worker. Miss Bowden is very committed. She's intelligent. She is educationally sound. And she has the will to learn. And so I have no difficulty believing that she, being the first woman to head Special Branch, is going to do an exceptional job at Head Special Branch. So whoever is saying to you that Miss Bowden this and Miss Bowden that,
it's just a matter of fact. She's never been an intelligence officer.
When you first became a reporter, were you ever a reporter before? No, I'm sure, right? We all, for the first time, it will be the first time we do something.
It's head of National SB.
To say that it's preferential treatment, I'm sure that Channel 5 and Plus TV would say that I afforded you preferential treatment this morning. I waited for you for 10 minutes while they're here waiting. While they're here waiting. Is that really the case, that it's preferential treatment? No.
And the Compol was also accused of playing favorites in San Pedro after a woman constable, the daughter of 2 police officers, was allegedly caught on camera stealing a prisoner's property. It happened a month ago and no criminal charges were brought. So we asked the commissioner today if she got special treatment.
Yes, that matter did occur, and it happened over about a month ago. I spoke to Mr. Noble when it just occurred, and the person whose property was stolen did not request or did not want any court action. And so what I directed Mr. Noble to do was to deal with the matter internally. So the officer in question was placed on disciplinary charge. She went before a tribunal, she pled not guilty, and the matter is before the tribunal currently.
However, sir, is this special or some kind of differential treatment because both her parents are police officers? I know her father is a senior police officer.
No, there's no preferential treatment where she's concerned. That's the process we normally go through, and I'm sure, Jules, that you would know that this has always been the case, as well as the other news reporters. If we have situations where the person whose property was taken away do not wish to proceed with the matter criminally, then we would normally proceed by way of tribunal, and in some cases we don't even proceed any at all. So as a matter of ensuring that the officer is held accountable, I direct that she be placed on disciplinary charges.
Was there every possible situation made to encourage the complainant to exercise their right to bring that charge?
Yes, Jules, that was done, and even after the fact, Mr. Noble went back to the person, and the person maintained his position that he did not want to proceed with the matter criminally.
But in another case where the complainant personally called the Compol to report on a case of extortion, charges were brought against 2 police officers who had pulled off the oldest shakedown in the books. The commissioner told us more.
This happened last week in Belize City, where a young man reported that he was driving on the George Price Highway. When reaching the mile 4 checkpoint, he was stopped by 2 police officers who were working there. And he did not have his driver's license with him. He was asked to produce it. He could not. And based on that, the officers extorted $200 from him. He called me as it occurred. I got Professional Standard Branch in the picture. They investigated, and investigation led to the arrest of 2 police officers, one WPC Anthony and one PC Sambula. They were charged with extortion. They went to court last week and were granted bail. They are now on interdiction.
The officers were arraigned last week and received bail. And while those cops are facing charges, the Coast Guard has found its sunken vessel. As we told you last week, 2 Coast Guard officers, 2 policemen, and a scenes of crime technician was traveling to Turnef Atoll to investigate a drowning when their vessel began taking in water. It quickly sank, leaving the occupants at sea for 2.5 hours until they were rescued by some divers. There were no major injuries reported, and today the Coast Guard went fishing for their boat. Reports to our newsroom were that the boat was faulty, and the Coast Guard officers loaded the majority of the weight at the back of the boat, causing it to take on water. Recovering it should assist in the investigation. We'll take a quick break now, but don't you go away, because we have a lot more news ahead, including the story of a baby born in the Orange Walk police station bathroom. The mother says she didn't even know she was pregnant. Don't go away.
Stay safe and submit your sickness benefit claim form electronically. Follow these 4 steps. Step 1. Obtain your medical certificate. At consultation, The doctor certifies your days of illness and provides you with a medical certificate. Step 2. Fill out your sickness benefit form. Complete all the fields in parts 1 to 4 on the front page of the sickness benefit form. Step 3. Request your salaries record form. Contact your employer for your salaries record form. Step 4. Submit your sickness benefit claim form. Scan or take a clear picture of the sickness benefit form, salaries record, and proof of bank account. Email the documents to claims@socialsecurity.org.bz within 14 days. You will receive an email reply confirming receipt of your claim. After the submission of all documents, your claim is processed for payment to your account. For any COVID-related illnesses, contact the Ministry of Health for further guidance. Social Security Board, safeguarding you, your family, your future.
Hey Belize, Benny's Deal Alert season is here, and we have some great deals for you.
Deals, deals, and more deals. From now up until December 31st, enjoy Deal Alert discounts on our line of paints, such as BH paints, Texturelight paints, and Tropical Colors paints. Deal Alert markdowns will also be applied on a wide selection of tiles, lights and fans, tools, appliances, and much more.
And remember, whenever you make a purchase, you get double tickets to enter our cash giveaway draw on December 19th to win $10,000.
That's right, it's a Deal Alert. It's a Benny's Deal Alert. So shop now, get great deals, and your tickets for the chance to win the $10,000 grand prize only at Benny's.
Benny's in 60 seconds.
You've worked hard your whole life building your future, your family, your business, your home. And when you aren't around to safeguard your most beloved assets, you are at ease because you know they are protected by RF&G Insurance. For over 50 years, RF&G has been making sure business owners get back to work after an accident, and families get back into their homes quickly after a natural disaster. At RF&G, it's you who matters most. Visit us today and learn why it pays to get it right. RF&G Insurance, a Road Group company.
Contraband is the illegal importation of goods such as alcohol, tobacco, foods, and parts. Apart from breaking the law, smugglers are also now endangering the health of all Belizeans. They risk bringing coronavirus into Belize with their contraband. To keep COVID-19 out of Belize, everyone entering the country is screened and quarantined. But contraband smugglers are not using legal entry points and are bypassing all safety measures. And these same smugglers are moving among the population. They could be carrying the virus. By coming into the country illegally, they could cause outbreaks of COVID-19. Buying or smuggling contraband is putting yourself, your family, and the entire country at risk. Report smuggling. For SMART, call 0800-JUMPERS or 0800-BORDERS. For Digi, 0800-SAVE-BZE. This message is brought to you by the Belize Police Department and the Belize Bank.
El contrabando es importar ilegalmente productos como el alcohol, tabaco, comida y objetos. Aparte de romper la ley, los contrabandistas están poniendo ahora en riesgo la salud de los beliceños. Ellos arriesgan traer coronavirus a Belice por medio de sus contrabandos. Para mantener el COVID-19 fuera de Belice, todos los que entren al país son examinados y encuarentenados. Sin embargo, los contrabandistas no utilizan los puntos de entrada legal y se saltan todas las medidas de seguridad. Estos mismos traficantes se están moviendo entre la población. Ellos podrían tener el virus. Al entrar ilícitamente al país, esto puede provocar un brote de COVID-19. Comprar o traficar contrabando te pone a ti, a tu familia y a todo tu país en riesgo. Para números de Smart, llama al 0800-586-7377, 0800-267-3377 y para Digi 0800-728-3293 para reportar cualquier actividad de contrabando. Este mensaje es presentado por el Departamento de Policía de Belice y el Banco de Belice.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see. 'Twas grace that taught my heart to fear, and grace my fears relieved. How precious did that grace appear the hour I first believed. My chains are gone, I've been set free. My God, my Savior has ransomed me. And like a flood, His mercy reigns unending.
Nation at risk. Guatemala and Mexico are experiencing rapidly increasing numbers of COVID-19 cases, and there are more deaths every day. Persons entering Belize illegally from these hotspot countries are not being tested for COVID-19. That's why it is important to report anyone entering Belize illegally by calling our hotlines Smart users call 0800-JUMPERS or 0800-BORDERS. For Digi, call 0800-SAVE-BZE. Condoning or engaging in border jumping is putting yourself, your family, and the entire country at risk. Remember, anyone caught will be fined up to $5,000 and or imprisoned for 2 years. Stop border jumping now. This message is brought to you by the Belize Police Department and the Belize Bank.
Saltar la frontera es ilegal y coloca a toda la nación en riesgo. Nuestros vecinos, Guatemala y México, han experimentado un rápido incremento de casos de contagio de COVID-19 y hay más muertes cada día. Personas entrando a Belice ilegalmente, viniendo de esos países con múltiples casos, no les están haciendo las pruebas de COVID-19. Es por eso que es importante reportar a cualquiera que entre ilegalmente a Belice llamando a nuestras líneas directas. Para Smart, marque 0800-586-7377, 0800-267-3377 y para Digi, marque 0800-728-3293. Tolerar o participar en entrar ilegalmente es ponerte a ti, a tu familia y a todo tu país en riesgo. Recuerda, cualquiera que sea arrestado deberá pagar una multa de hasta 5,000 y o prisión por 2 años. Detén el salto de fronteras hoy. Este mensaje es presentado por el Departamento de Policía de Belice y el Banco de Belice.
A woman who says she had no idea she was pregnant gave birth in the bathroom of the Orange Walk police station this morning. Amparo Lopez is a Honduran woman who was arrested on immigration charges on the 27th October and was at the station since Friday after spending a month in quarantine. To the officers' total surprise, and well, hers as well, she went into labor this morning around 4. WPCL Teresita Eugenio assisted with the delivery of the baby girl and then escorted the mother to the hospital. Our colleagues at CTV3 were able to speak to the officer on the phone. She said in her 33 years in the force, she had never experienced something quite like this.
The female is there for immigration offenses, not police, and she had no pregnancy, no, like, that's determined that she's pregnant or something like that, because I see a lot of comments say why police officer put a pregnant woman in the cell, and only that I would have want clear and said this lady was there. She tell me even she know that she was pregnant. Oh, wow. And when it started with this terrible pain, I take her out, and while in the station, he asked me to use the bathroom. And I followed her. When I hear, wow, the baby start to bawl. And when I look in there, the baby is in the story. So I get frightened. I stay there trembling, and I just take out the baby. I grab one towel, and she may have I wrap up the baby in there. And I pass her, like, underneath so that it could, the car not choke her or something like that. I was very frightened. I took her out of the cell about 4 and about 4:50, and I see she had strong pain, and she asked me to use the bathroom. So I followed her to the bathroom where she went there, and that was where the baby born. About at least about 4:15, between 4:15 and 4:20, because I rushed her to the hospital 25 past 4. I hand over the baby along with her, and they did what they had to do, right?
Lopez was supposed to appear in court today, but for reasons all too clear, well, that date was pushed back. The new COVID curfew went into effect on Saturday, and this weekend police arrested more than 60 persons countrywide for violating it. It's not a whole lot compared to other curfew weekends. Commissioner Chester says that there are all kinds of COVID spreading activity being witnessed by police.
We're still seeing people having parties here, there, and everywhere. We're still seeing some places want to open despite they should be closed. We're still seeing people gathering in large numbers. We're still seeing people walking around without a mask or with a mask improperly worn. These are things that we need to stop if it is that we want to slow down the spread of this virus. then we must ensure we adhere to the health protocol as can be listed in the quarantine regulation.
Sir, how are you dealing with the aspect of human resources? We know before the police department, you guys were stretched very thin, policing all of these measures.
Well, I can tell you, Andrea, it is extremely, extremely frustrating for us. We are significantly down. Last week we were down by over 200 officers, and this week we're down by over 300 officers. So our numbers continue to climb, but despite that, we understand we have a mandate to the people, and we try our utmost best to fulfill that mandate despite the fact that our human resources is very short.
A lot of people were very unclear about the time of the curfew. It was announced 9 and then we saw the SI out at 10. Are you able to update us why that time was extended?
Well, I guess people were relying on the press release that the Ministry of Health had issued prior to the SI coming into force. And I believe that after the Ministry of Health press release, there was some change. And when the law actually came out, which is the regulation, it says 10 p.m.
And the need for that curfew was underscored again this weekend as the latest COVID numbers came out. 16 more Belizeans died from COVID-related conditions. News of 10 of those deaths came on Friday night. In his report, the DHS stressed that not all 10 patients died on Friday, but the ministry identified them as COVID positive that day. 3 of the deceased were from the Kaya district. There was 1 from Belize City, 2 from Toledo, 2 from Corozal, and 2 in Orange Walk. Then, on Saturday, 3 more Belizeans, 2 females and 1 male, died from COVID. 2 were from Orange Walk and 1 was from the Belize district. And 3 more patients died yesterday. A man in his 50s from San Jose Socots who died at WRH. 1 man in his 60s from Corozal Town and 1 woman in her 80s from Dangrega. So far for the month of November up to last night, 88 Belizeans have died due to COVID-19. For context, the ministry's count as of October 31st was 59. As of November 29th, 147 Belizeans had died from COVID. And among those COVID numbers over the weekend was Area Representative for Belize Rural Central, Dolores Balderramas. She is the 4th PUP elected representative known to have contracted the virus after Mike Espat, Jorge Espat, and PM John Briceño. She informed the public via a Facebook post on Sunday, saying that her family also tested positive. She told our newsroom today that they have mild symptoms and are resting. But she remains at work, as she also told us that she is preparing for the virtual cabinet tomorrow. She thanks the public for their outpouring of support. PM Briceño will lead that cabinet session from his bedroom, where he says he remains in strict self-isolation. Yesterday, Briceño put out a brief statement via Zoom to say he's asymptomatic, but urging greater public caution.
I have been in isolation for days now. It is not easy to be separated from my family. This is just one of the consequences of catching the virus, but I am lucky. See, I am asymptomatic, but I have friends and colleagues who are not. I know of people who have suffered greatly, and I know people who have died. We have to take this seriously. I continue to work from my bedroom, where my isolation will continue until the doctors say I am free to return to work. But even then, I will do so mindful of the new regulations, which includes working from home whenever possible.
The statement appeared on Facebook. And one PUP elected rep who has bounced back from COVID is Toledo East's Mike Espat. After falling ill right after the election, he was finally sworn in today as a Minister of State in the Briceño administration. Seen here, Espat took the oath of office this afternoon before Governor General Sir Colville Young in Belmopan. He will serve as the Co-Minister of State in the Ministry of Finance, Economic Development and Investment under Prime Minister, the Honorable John Briceño. And while new Ministers of State Espat and the Cabinet are meeting virtually, the Commissioner of Police is calling all his commanders to meet in person on Thursday. It's called a Commanders Conference, and we asked him today if he is bending the rules because he enforces them.
you're going to have an all-officers conference here later this week, I'm told.
Juice, you have sources. I don't know how that even reached you. I just discussed that matter with my commanders less than an hour ago. I haven't even discussed it with my minister to see if he's going to agree to be here. But again, it goes to show that people just continue to leak what they should not leak. It's embarrassing, to say the least. But nonetheless, we're planning on having an all-officers conference, not all officers, a commanders meeting this coming Thursday. And the objective of that is to have the commanders give the minister a brief of their respective area, and for the minister and the CEO to get to know the commanders across the country.
But sir, you have over 50 commanders. If I can't go to church with more than 10 people, how can you have 50 commanders here?
I am sure, Jules, that you have read the regulation, and it says that when it comes to the work setting, that arrangement can be made. You don't have to adhere to social distance protocol per se. And so what we do is to ensure the officers who attend the conference will wear their PPEs to ensure that if there is any infection, the infection does not spread among the other officers.
And from police meeting to police meeting criminals, Corozal's special branch made a major weed bust this weekend. They busted 2 men with 40.2 pounds or 18.2 kilos of marijuana, which they believe was smuggled over the border from Mexico. The cops were acting on intelligence when they went to a hotspot in Chanchen village where illicit cross-border trade activity is known to occur. That's where they busted 2 men who had 18 parcels of marijuana hidden inside a fuel tank. Here's more from the police.
Also on yesterday's date, sometime in late afternoon, police were responding to an information on the outskirts of Chanchen village, where upon their arrival they met one Rene Campos, who was beside a taxi, and in conducting further searches in the area, they came across one Kid Campos, 38 years, and at the time he had in his possession a vehicle fuel tank. When the police inspected the tank, it had 18 parcels of suspected cannabis when weighed amounted to 40.2 pounds. As a result, police have arrested and charged both persons with possession of controlled drugs with intent to supply to another.
Sir, obviously it looks like an organized trafficking operation. Is this someone that the police had been looking at as a trafficker?
Yes. Yes, in the past he has been looked at and was being studied by police officers, and that is a known area for illegal activities where he was found.
Cops suspect that the location where the men were found is either a preferred stash area or that the men intended to transport the loaded fuel tank for further marijuana distribution in other parts of the country. And the illicit weed trade is also what may have led to a serious non-fatal shooting in the north last night. 27-year-old Elroy Arnold, a resident of Trial Farm Village in Orange Walk, was gunned down last night. He was recently acquitted for murder, and that could have been a motive. But it also could have been weed, because he told police that 2 men approached him with the pretense of wanting to buy weed. While he was having a conversation with one of the men, the other pulled out a gun and shot him several times. The head of the National Criminal Investigations Branch shared more with the media in a press briefing.
Yesterday evening, shortly after 6:30 p.m., Orange Walk police were called to the Northern Regional Hospital where they observed one Elroy Arnold with apparent gunshot injuries. He was seen in a stable condition, and what the police know so far is that sometime shortly after 6 p.m., Arnold was at his home when he was approached by 2 dark-complexioned male persons wanting to buy weed, and in the process, whilst he was talking to one of them, the other person pulled out a handgun and fired several shots in his direction, causing him to be injured. At this time, we have not been able to establish a clear motive. but we are following two theories. The first being that it could have been drug-related based on the information we are gathering, and the second being that he was recently acquitted of a murder along with several other persons. However, we have one named suspect whom we are seeking at this time, whom we believe can assist us in this investigation.
Might this be another illustration of that, the dangers associated with selling marijuana?
We wouldn't want to say that, other than to say that we believe that based on the pressures the department has been putting on these persons who are selling drugs, that it may have just been an isolated incident or one of those incidents relating to one of the motives I had mentioned earlier.
And that's all we have for you on our newscast for tonight. Thanks for watching. With your news, I'm Indira Craig. Remember that you can see a streaming video of this newscast at 7newsbelize.com, brought to you by Digi for the best postpaid plans in the country. Remember now to wash your hands, to wear a mask at all times in public properly, to keep your social distance. Make sure to join me back here tomorrow at 6, and until then, have a great night.